Welcome back to the Professional Lovers channel. I'm Al.
I'm Patty.
And we are the Professional Lovers.
Coming at you for another week's recap of Married at First Sight.
Week 13.
Welcome if you do. Welcome back if you're not. You know what we do here. We talk about relationships through the lens of Married at First Sight and through the lens of our experience.
Is
being married.
Yes.
So, if that's what you enjoy, you're in the right place. And let's get started.
Yes.
Let's talk about the ugly truth. Starting with Kristen and Mitch.
Done.
So,
Been done.
First of all, it's 2 weeks before decision day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always got to set things up. Everybody seemed to talk to a friend or family member of the spouse. And one of the experts checked back in, and we had a new one that made his appearance for the first time this week, Devon Franklin. So that's the setup. And so let's get started with Kristen and Mitch, who seem to have been in a good place.
Yeah. Growth. Growth. I think they were probably they are the realistic couple. You know, in realizing that this is not to say that their reactions are realistic, but they're the ones who were growing.
Yeah. And Kristen talked to Mitch's sister-in-law, and Mitch talked to Kristen's sister.
Yeah.
To get some perspectives. And the whole theme was about, what are you still worried about? What are some issues that you have that could impact your decision on decision day?
Yeah.
And for Kristen, it was Mitch's contrarianism.
Didn't even know that was a word.
And the fact that she's not sure if she can meet the expectations of his values.
Yeah. Consistently.
Right. He's an
environmentalist, and he's an avid
environmentalist. And I would say a lot of average people are not on his level of environmental concern.
Yeah.
And so she is wondering whether she has the ability to deal with that, because he's very passionate, almost to the extreme of his environmental advocacy, and she's not at that level.
No.
And he even said, I don't know if I could be a person dealing with me. Now, if you aren't sure that you could be a person dealing with you, then, what does that say for...
You've dealt with yourself more than longer than anybody else has. So
yeah. So I think that, I think Dr. Pepper was kind of like, you've grown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
reminding Kristen that she's grown.
Yeah.
To
the extent
to a higher level than when they started. So why couldn't she
grow more?
Right. And
vice versa, but it was Kristen's moment.
Yeah. So that's her concern. And his concern was, what did decision day mean to her? Because on the honeymoon, she had said, if I don't hear you say I love you before decision day, then I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
But she said, I'm not at that place
any longer
because our relationship has grown.
Mm-hmm.
And so she that's not her standard for whether or not she says yeah or nay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it got left until the end.
Yeah, well,
unfortunately,
the conversation between Mitch and Kristen's sister was, in my opinion, his effort in trying to find a way, being that her sister knows her best, to let Kristen know that he's an advocate for her natural beauty. As far as he's concerned, she doesn't never have to wear makeup. And she can just wear her hair wavy and whatnot. And, initially he may have told the experts that he was looking for, a hippie type. And he happened to mention that, someone who is, bohemian and just natural and no additives, no nothing. Not to say that he did not like how she looked, but he was asking a way to know how to approach her in letting her know that she didn't have to wear makeup. She didn't have to, straighten her hair. She can just be as natural as she feels. Now, he may not understand that a woman and her makeup sometimes has nothing to do with him. But I think he was just inquiring,
Well, he realized that he has a way of saying things that come across offensively.
Yeah.
And he was trying to preempt that by asking the sister,
how do I approach
How should
this?
I do it? You're a woman. You can give me feedback. How do I do it? Well, when sister relayed the conversation to Kristen, we don't know
how it was communicated.
But it was communicated in a way that put Kristen all the way back to the beginning.
To where
when he said
he wasn't attracted.
Attracted to her. Now, he had already told her sister, that was really him and his fear and his insecurity and his expectation talking. It had nothing to do with Kristen and had everything to do with him. He explained that.
Yeah.
But that did not come across in the telephone relay of the conversation from Kristen's sister to Kristen.
Or however Kristen received it.
So I felt like some of what he said was taken out of context and strung together in a way that came across differently to Kristen than what he was actually doing. Now,
his intentions.
And here's the other thing. Everybody has preferences.
True.
Okay? I prefer my husband with a full beard just because I like beards.
Hint.
And he does that.
On occasion.
And then when he gets tired of it, he cuts it off to be what he likes, which is a mustache goatee, which I like too. But just because he decides to cut his beard off, and that's my preference, doesn't mean that I don't think he's fine. Because I do.
I just don't want to look like Papa Smurf.
He is a natural kind of guy. He has always said his preference is a more natural look.
From day one.
And, I just happen to be a person who can wear makeup and who can't. Who doesn't have to. I've never been one of those people that has to, I can't go out unless my face is on. Or when I wake up, he has to see me with my face on. I have never been that kind of person. And so, but when I do wear makeup, does that mean that, he's turned off or doesn't think I'm unattractive anymore? No. But his preference is a more natural look. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with having preferences.
True.
And it doesn't mean that when you don't look like your preference at any given time, that is a rejection of who you are. And I think Kristen, like she went back to how she felt when he said, I'm not really attracted to you right now, which nobody wants to hear.
That, especially from somebody that you're going to be spending potentially the rest of your life with.
And I think it's a buildup of Kristen to all the things that she has tried to accommodate him in with his quirkiness and his over advocacy of the environment, that she's just like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
She's exhausted.
I am not going to walk on eggshells, and I am not going to change things because you don't want to use paper towel. You know, and I get it, but I just think that that his intention was
misread.
I think it was misrepresented.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
it was misrepresented. And, you know, so that's how they ended the night, which was unfortunate, but hopefully they can get back to where they were.
I don't know.
Stasha was like, no, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
They're done.
That's true. They was mumbling.
They was like, you think they're gonna make it? No.
Nope. Nope.
Done.
They may have something there.
Yeah. But, you know, they were doing so well, and I think they do have the best track record for hashing things out.
True.
And coming to an understanding.
Yeah, an understanding.
Yeah. And owning their limitations
or their imbalance or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Trying to get to a common ground.
Yeah. So hopefully that will continue. Lindy and Miguel. Lindy, unfortunately, because of her tendency to think about the negative side of everything, makes issues where there aren't really any issues.
Yeah, because she takes everything to an extreme.
Yeah. He asked the question, would you live in a loveless marriage? And she was like, I don't know. I think that, people can find love again. And when he said, I don't agree with you, she took that in her head to say,
you're going to leave me.
Oh, if I don't love you the way you want me to love you, then you're just going to up and leave. No. It was a question for discussion's sake, Lindy.
Exactly. And that's what it is, a discussion, to feel each other out, to get an understanding of where we stand on particular topics. My interpretation of a loveless marriage is two people who have, gone through the gauntlet of all experiences in their life together, worked on things that maybe just didn't work out. They're not like at each other's throats or anything, but I don't know. They fell out of love, if that's a true concept or a term. But some people, for whatever reason, they give themselves, for lack of a better term, the excuse of no longer putting in the effort to stay together and be in love with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And, nobody knows what that outcome is. But again, we know that it's a decision. You choose to be together, and you find ways to enhance your relationship and build upon it.
Or even rekindle that the love feeling, though love is not based on feeling, but to try to rekindle that connection.
Yeah.
And then again, when they were talking before they got with Pastor Cal, and she said, we've been so good. I know that there's a blow up coming. I know that, there has to be, because we're still learning each other. And I just wonder, what that would be like and what that would mean. And he was like, I'm not going to say, oh, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be all right, because I don't know. And that, once again, she took that as, oh, that sounds like a threat. I'm like, okay, you are creating issues where there are none. But in her mind, they're all like,
and they're so extreme.
It's very extreme. And he talked to her friend about that, and her tendency to go from 0 to 1,000, like
instantaneously.
And McGindy apparently brought that out. She got very frustrated with the babies crying and all of that. And he was like, this quick to anger thing is a little unnerving.
And see, in my mind, and this is just me thinking, I was like, there would be no way that you would think that way if you had to carry this baby for 9 months and then, birth the baby and feel a bond like you have never felt before.
Unless, of course, you're going through postpartum depression, which does interfere with that bonding.
Yeah.
But, that you can get that handled and managed.
But, I mean, to get mad? No, but in that postpartum depression, that's a sadness. That's
it's not an anger.
Anger, yeah.
But you are not feeling connected to the baby.
True.
Just like she wasn't feeling connected to that dog.
Well, I can understand not being connected because it was interfering with your sleep and all that. But again, this is part of the experiment. Matter of fact, you were being tested with it. So why not understand it as a challenge and address it?
And it brought out some things.
Yeah.
And that they talked about with Pastor Cal. And Pastor Cal, asked Lindy, has he seen your worst? And she was like, no. I mean, but he was like, well, but don't forecast. Wait, you haven't seen anything yet. You haven't seen my worst. And she was like, oops,
just wait.
I did that already. And she had told him that, that he hadn't seen nothing yet. He's like, yeah, but what I've seen is already scary. I don't want to see the other. But, when Pastor Cal said, now, how many times have you been at a 10?
She said twice in her life.
So that's not her norm.
Exactly. But then when he said, well, what to what level, or 0 to 10, where have you been with Miguel? What has he seen? And she said a 4.5. That scared him too.
Yeah, and he's like, if that was only a 4.5, that was bad enough.
Ooh.
And I don't want to see more. And so, I wonder, she has said before that, part of what she likes about Miguel is that he doesn't really take her stuff.
Yeah.
He calls her out on it.
But, yeah.
And she can't really get over on him, which she's been used to apparently doing with other people. And so, he's like, the negativity doesn't work for me. And the quickness to anger doesn't work for me, and so it'd be interesting to see, how they work that out. Alexis and Justin, they got the new guy on the block this week.
Mr. Franklin.
And I thought that their conversation revealed a lot of things.
True.
What I liked is that the questions that he asked them really helped them to get to the need factor that they were both experiencing with this whole club situation, which goes along with our book tip for tonight: settle your differences by meeting each other's present needs. When you keep arguing about the same thing, it suggests that there are needs that aren't really being met.
Yeah.
And it's not about the thing, it's about the needs.
Right.
And Franklin helped, first of all, Alexis get to that by the questions. And I appreciate the questions that he asked. What is it about the club that you like? What feelings do you get from the club?
Freedom.
And what does that mean? And what does that mean? How could Justin give you freedom in your marriage? How could you get that same feeling in your marriage with Justin, that feeling of freedom? And she talked about, them traveling and hiking and doing, and then he was like, Justin, do you like to travel?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like to hike?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like to? And her face was like, I couldn't read her face. I didn't know if her facial expression was, you lie, or if her facial expression was, really? I never knew that. It was kind of an in between.
She was absorbing as well.
Right, but she had a look But I couldn't figure out which way that look was going.
But I think she was thinking too, in reading him, trying to understand exactly, yeah, well, where's your energy with this newfound thought of what freedom means to you or us. And I think that they both realize something about themselves. And when it addressed the need, it's like, well, can you be that for your spouse? And do what is needed as a we, and not have to do what you do elsewhere.
Well, and when he addressed the club to Justin, the need was, I need to know that somebody else can't roll up on her and take her away from me. So it was an insecurity about, because we talked about what a club atmosphere is anyway.
The environment.
But Franklin was like, okay, but you can't control who comes up to her and talks to her and what they say and when they do and blah blah blah. So the fact and the fact is that can happen anywhere.
Exactly. The gym, church. Anywhere. So you're going to restrict her from, so he recognized it as a sense of control
because of his insecurities.
Right.
So those are the real needs.
And that was an aha moment for him.
Yeah.
So he was like, oh,
he said, I never considered myself to be controlling, but I guess I kind of am in this instance. And that's what, the whole understanding each other's needs is. The club was the vehicle, but it wasn't the real issue. Exactly. And you have to take the time to get to the real issue in order to address the issue and provide what your spouse needs from you in order to feel secure, stable, safe, to feel whatever that need is. And so I really appreciated that about their discussion. And then they talked about the whole intimacy thing. And Alexis was like, I need to be dominated. And he's not used to dominating, I guess, the way that she would like. I said, boy, you better just grab them braids and swing her around.
And he said, I can be dominant. And I looked at the little frail, narrow, 6'7", I'm like, And then not to say that he couldn't be, but his thing was that it was always commonality and mutual and, simplistic and maybe
but generic. I need to hear that. I need to feel the same energy coming from you. Yeah. But what does that mean? We both trying to dominate each other, or and basically it was like, dude, you just need to step up and stop hiding behind your shell and stop hiding behind your comfort level.
Matter of fact, he said, anytime that you're starting to feel concern and you starting to feel insecure and backing up, that's the time to step up. Don't back up, step up. Address the challenge, and go for it. I mean, this is your wife. This ain't it's an experiment, but for the most part, the experiment is over. She said she's willing to help. So she'll make an environment conducive for you to do what you feel you need to do. But you got to
do what you need to do.
You got to step both feet up in that thing there.
Go with Stasha and Nate. They give him some lessons.
That's right. That was that part of next week?
Yes.
Somebody's messing around with some apparatuses.
So speaking of Stasha and Nate, they met with
their friends and family,
right,
their spouse.
Right. And when they met with Pastor Cal first, they were talking about the whole love thing and the fact that, Stasha has said it to him. But I thought he said it to her a couple of weeks ago.
I think he made a statement that he loved his wife. I don't think he told her that I love you.
I'm going to have to go back in my notes.
But I think that was the statement or how he phrased it. because it wasn't a direct to him.
But anyway,
yeah.
and Pastor Cal asked him, have you wanted to say I love you?
And he said, yeah.
That he has stopped himself. Well, why have you
Why
stopped
did you stop
yourself? And it's interesting because her friends asked him, are you nervous that you can't meet her like on her level where she is? And he said yes. Yeah. And his friends told Stasha basically kind of the same thing, that she's the first woman that's ever
got him where he is right now.
Yeah, that he's never dealt with a woman like her.
The only people that they have ever heard him say that he loved was his family. That was it. And they've seen other relationships, but it didn't. Well, again, this is marriage. He hasn't been married before, but even in growing relationships, this has never been.
And that was a little tiny red flag for Stasha, because she's like, you 35 and you've never been in love. So do you even know what that feels like, or what that's supposed to feel like?
And he may not.
Yeah, but so he's got some insecurities.
Definitely.
That are kind of keeping a wall there, because she is so clear about herself, and she is clear about I don't know if she's secure about herself. She's got a lot of insecurities too.
Well, she does, but she's secure about herself.
Well, but she's been
maybe not about relationships.
Yeah,
but she's secure about herself.
Yeah. So so that was interesting, and of course she's asking his friends, well, where's that line of, do I always have to be the one trying to get him
to balance it off, or how did
I don't I don't remember exactly,
but
how
it was
she
like
put
her
it.
being the barometer in the relationship of allowing, I guess, each other to, I don't know if it was necessarily relating to one another, but I don't remember, but it was something about her being the barometer in the relationship between the two.
Yeah, maybe you can fill in the gaps for us, because we're having senior moments. But yeah, so that's kind of a question for her, if he can't. But again, I think she needs to just lay off of that and just watch his actions,
his building, his growth.
And to not, keep thinking that it has to sound a particular way and look a particular way, and that she can acknowledge his growth and give him time to
build the house the way
build
he
his
builds
security.
it, because he doesn't build it with the tools that everybody else uses. He does it his way,
right?
And I think that was part of it. Her stabilization of doing the norm, where his way of getting to that point is
going to be different,
the back door or some other kind of way.
Because his friend asked, "Is he using the tools?" And she said, "No." But he's trying.
Yeah, no, he's working. I think
that's what she says. He's trying.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and after tonight, we no longer have to address Morgan and Ben because they've decided to divorce, which
decision day.
That's not a surprise. No. We've all been hoping for that, just because watching them has been painful.
It has been.
She's not even interested in being friends, but no, that's not surprising either. What is sad is that Ben just does not have the self-confidence to speak his piece.
Yeah.
To, stand up for himself, and that he's got a lot of parental issues that feed that insecurity. And at least he realized that he really is not ready to be married. Right. And he's got to do a lot of work on himself to get to a point where he would, bring skill and maturity and, you know, good characteristics to a relationship.
Yeah.
So, sorry, but not sorry for the two of them. All right, so that's it. So, your couple of the week?
Might be going back toward Justin and Alexis.
Get out of my head.
We are one, dear.
That's my couple of the week too.
Because I think that they realized something. I mean, I think there was an aha moment for the both of them in understanding how to take that next level of intimacy and relating to one another to another level.
Yeah, I think there was a breakthrough.
Yeah.
A real breakthrough in tonight's episode that they can build on. Yeah. Because as Justin told her friend, we want the same things.
Yeah, we
communicate them differently so that we don't understand each other, but we're wanting the same thing.
Exactly.
And the friend said, you know, you are giving Alexis everything she says she wants in a man.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that to me, that was probably the most encouraging thing that he has heard from anybody, because this is one of her friends and one of the guy friends.
Right.
So, you know, I'm sure they've had their friends. This is her hangout partner. Mm-hmm. So I think that that was encouraging for him. And then with Devon and the situation and just having it enhance in that aha moment of what he needs to do and being assertive, you know, be a manly man, you know, even with your bones, be a manly man. He's a skinny dude.
He
but
really
hey.
Is. But anyway, okay. Red flag couple.
Well, Kristen and Mitch.
So we are really on the same page tonight.
This week, that's for sure.
Yes, that's my red flag couple as well.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Because I think that, unfortunately, I just think that Kristen is exhausted. You know, she's given of herself and she's just looking for something in return.
And I kind of like how she went at Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
You know, saying, no. I don't need nobody who's halfway attracted to me. I want him to be excited. And it is true. Yeah. I want him to be excited when I walk in the room. I want him to be all in for me. And this kind of like, I am attracted to you, but I would be more attracted if, you know.
And see, believe it or not, I don't know if he's capable of doing it, but I know Mitch is absorbing all of this.
Oh, yeah.
And there have been times where he's adjusted, you know, little adjustments. But someone who is so monotone, it's sometimes totally out of character to be able to just kind of flip a switch. But who knows? I mean, maybe he may realize that he about to blow a good thing. And we have a tendency to realize that. And sometimes we do make adjustments. I'm talking about us men.
And sometimes
we don't.
Too late.
Yeah.
Too little, too late.
We have blown a lot being men.
But nevertheless. So there you have it. We've got the same couple of the week and the same red flag couple.
Hey.
And next week, they're all going on that retreat. And you know, drama happens on those retreats.
Don't they though?
So we'll see what that shakes out to be. Until then, thank you for watching and
please leave remarks.
You know,
comments.
We'd like to read the comments and remarks and respond when we can. So let's keep that going. Meanwhile, we want you to love yourself
and each other.
Bye.
Peace.